Hey class, how's it going? Hope you're having a good time. It's the last day of class. We're almost through. With that being said, we are Group 3. My name is David Lambach.
I'm David Maharaj.
And I'm Natalia Ivanova.
The theme of our literature review was competitive dynamics. What is that, you ask? Competitive dynamics can be defined as the study of inter-firm rivalry based on specific competitive actions and reactions, their strategic and organizational context, and their drivers and consequences of the actions. David is going to cover the major areas we discovered within the research.
So within competitive dynamics, we came up with 5 major themes. The first theme was competitive interactions and action level study. Then we got strategic competitive behavior and repertoire, multi-market and multi-business competition, integrative competitor analysis, and then lastly, competitive perception.
The first major theme of research we discovered within the field of competitive dynamics is that of competitive interaction. What is that, you ask? Competitive interaction can be defined as the study of individual actions and responses that firms and businesses have with one another within their respective markets. Along with that, there's also a very big focus on action irreversibility. What is an action? An action is a specific and detectable market move initiated by a firm or business so that it may erode a rival's market share or reduce its anticipated returns. Examples of an action are such as introducing a new product into the marketplace, a sales reduction on an item, or a new advertising campaign for an item. All those are examples of actions. They're specific and they're detectable. It's easily known that these things occurred. A response is a specific and datable countermove prompted by an initial action that a firm takes to defend or improve its market share or profit position. Keywords for response is specific and datable. A response has to be specific to a previous action as well as dated after that action. Otherwise, it's just an action in and of itself and not a response. The third area of research within competitive interaction is that of action irreversibility. That is the concept that once you perform an action, it cannot be undone. Action irreversibility has 2 major components, internal and public. Public irreversibility refers to the fact that once the public knows about an action, it will respond. You issue a press release stating something, the public will find out about it and react to it, making it irreversible. Even if you backtrack, they will still have knowledge of your previous action. Internal irreversibility has to deal with the financial, strategic, time, and opportunity costs that were incurred during the planning and execution of your action, along with the escalating level of commitment that is required to adhere to your action after you have performed it. All of those are things, once those things happen and you use up your resources and your costs, you cannot get them back, as well as a commitment. The more you commit, the more you want to stay with your action. The second major theme within the field of competitive dynamics is that of competitive behaviors and repertoires. Behavioral research deals with attitudes, while repertoire research deals with action simplicity. Within competitive behavior, the main area of focus is behavioral aggressiveness. Research was performed to evaluate how different firms act in different markets, specifically established versus new, and the aggressiveness of each firm's behaviors. It was found that market leaders in established industries exhibited conservative competitive behaviors in order to maintain the status quo and not jeopardize their position on top, while firms that have a minority share in a market tend to act much more aggressively in order to disrupt the status quo and obtain a larger share. However, these attitudes are flipped in new markets. Established firms are much more aggressive in order to gain control of the new market, while minority firms are much more conservative since there isn't yet a status quo and an established leader for them to compete with. Competitive repertoire is the second component in this theme. It is made up of the entire range of a firm's competitive moves and actions. It deals with the cumulative total of a firm's actions, not just the individual actions as in the previous section. Research done in this area examines the value of complex versus simple repertoires. Simplicity is focusing on a narrow set of competitive actions that the firms know will work and that the business can perform and execute properly. Complex repertoires involve experimenting with a large variety of competitive actions such as sales, promotions, and new marketing techniques, as opposed to staying focused on a few items that firms knows will work. Studies show that simple repertoires that are well executed result in higher performance for a firm as long as these firms don't become complacent. Overall, competitive behavior and repertoire research has a much broader range of focus than research done in competitive interaction, which is the biggest difference between these two areas.
The third major theme we have under competitive dynamics is multi-market competition. Multi-market competition as a whole involves businesses that operate in more than one market. Different to single market businesses, multi-market businesses tend to show less direct rivalry. Why is this? Although companies may have certain competitive advantages, it is important to understand that attacking a specific company may result in retaliation that can have huge risk factors attached to them. This is why many of these multi-market businesses take a stance of mutual forbearance. Mutual forbearance is an unspoken rule that neither of these companies, multi-marketly speaking, will attack each other in any specific market. This perspective is much more defensive so that less competitive risk can be focused on and more time can be allocated to other operations. The second aspect of multi-market competition is competitive resource allocation. Resource allocation plays a major role in multi-market businesses. When companies begin to increase their resource pool, it gives themselves a higher ability to separate themselves from their competition. This is why, even with the defensive position of mutual forbearance of multi-market firms, resource allocation is the main way competitors can still set themselves apart. The fourth major theme of competitive dynamics is competitor analysis. Competitor analysis is one of the most important pieces of competitive dynamics. This is because competitor analysis is one of the key ways businesses can statistically compare themselves to one another. Some examples of specific analysis profiles that businesses use are the SWOT analysis, SPACE matrix, BCG matrix, IE matrix, and Grand Strategy matrix. The SWOT analysis, however, is one of the most commonly used competitor analysis profiles because it evaluates a firm based on internal and external operations without bias towards positivity or negativity. The need for competitor analysis is extremely high so businesses can see where they are based on their competition. Another aspect of competitor analysis that is valuable is that trends of competitors start to reveal themselves and predictions for their future endeavors can be determined as long as companies are honest within their analysis. Honest evaluation is a key to improvement in any type of business. Without analyzing where a company is strong or weak, there will be trouble making future decisions. The second part of competitor analysis is the Awareness, Motivation, Capability Theory, or AMC. Awareness is needed to understand how one's current business operates in comparison to those in the same industry that are competing with them. After achieving a strong awareness level, there needs to be a motivational level that companies have to fix a problem where it is needed. However, if the problem becomes too rival-focused, then it can become a risk factor for the company and retaliation may occur. Capability to execute is the final step in the process, which companies have to evaluate before allocating heavy resources. Overall, competitor analysis as a whole explains the need to understand both competitor moves as well as internal business evaluation.
The fifth part to competitive dynamics is competitive perception. What exactly is that? Each main focus is how firms view each other and themselves based on the behavioral and emotional characteristics. It mainly consists of three different concepts within it that incorporate the importance of emotional and behavioral perceptions. The first one is competitive tension. And competitive tension is the strain between a focal firm and a given rival that is likely to result in the firm taking action against the rival. So basically, this part is one of the most top important levels, and it is basically where companies figure out its competitors' objectives and strategies in the competition and what environment they are competed in. The second part is identity domain. And identity domain is a company's understanding of who they are as an organization and what their role in the market is. And this is basically where firms have a tendency to compete in a market where they know they will succeed. It is where they choose the correct ones that will give them the most success. And for the firm to know who they are and what their purpose is in a given market will keep them from getting into many problems in the future. The last part is competitive acumen. And this is the ability to understand its rival's perceptions and to see things from its rival's perspective. This is where the firm needs to learn to view things from their competitor's perspective or rival's perspective. And knowing the rival's perceptions and views on things in a competitive market will help you make the best decisions possible in your business. And this concept can provide a company with a substantial market gain and success.
In conclusion, competitive dynamics has 5 major areas of focus. The individual level, which is competitive interaction, the business level, which is the research done on competitive behaviors and repertoires, the multi-market corporate level, where businesses operate in different markets, competitive analysis and evaluation of rival firms, and the competitive perception that companies have based on behavioral characteristics. With that being said, we are Group 3. Thank you for your time.